about the fact that we want to go into cocoa expansion.
Yeah.
And cocoa is doing very well on our markets right now. Now, if we want to export cocoa, we need to have very arable fertile lands, not infected with galamsey, cyanides and all that. That will give us more revenue. We've also talked about, growing and consuming things locally. So there's an encouragement of even our backyard gardens and all that. These are things that we need to have at the back of our minds and do. That would also help our import, so that we don't import so much. But one thing that I still have at the back of my mind is the concern of many Ghanaians, that how do we sustain this?
Okay.
You talked about all the things that are happening out there, even in the US and in the Arab world, like Indonesia and co. But our homegrown policies that we have, these are things that, if indeed this is working for us, because not too long ago, the cedi was around 16, 17. Now it's 10, 24, which tells us all that the appreciation is massive, it's big. For the fears that people have out there, and I like again the bit where you talked about the fact that people are, changing their cedis into dollars because they are not too certain as to how the market is going to look like. How do we sustain this? How do we ensure that the cedi continue to do well against the US dollar and other currencies?
Great. And like I said, for the external factor, the factors that I've mentioned, for the external one, there are some that are not within our power, isn't it? So we need to look at, of course, if you are depending so much on your gold, if you are depending so much on your cocoa, what you need to do, particularly for gold, and that's why I like the angle when I look at the things that they are doing in terms of gold board. You need to begin to think of adding value. So you don't export raw gold, because the raw gold, you realize that the price can fluctuate, isn't it? And when they fluctuate, you realize that things will reverse. And so they need to think about adding value, isn't it? So that even if there are fluctuations against us, when prices begin to come down, because we have added value, we tend to get some appreciable values to keep that momentum. That's the first thing, so that you mitigate against possible decline in price of the product that you export, isn't it? You need to begin to think about adding value so that going forward you can benefit. Of course, in terms of the internal side, you realize that we need to make sure that the things that we are doing on the monetary and fiscal side continues to actually give the indication that we are not slacking. And I'll take them one by one. If you go to the monetary side, we don't have to begin to lower interest rate too quickly, because when you give the impression that inflation will spiral, then people will begin to change, like we said, their cedis into foreign currency. So monetary policy authorities will need to keep an eye on inflation, and when you do that, of course, it depends on the forecast that you have in the medium term of where inflation is likely to be, and so you look at that, and if you look at government, you have given indication to the whole world that you want to be fiscally disciplined even after IMF, isn't it? And that is what you need to continue, because the moment you begin to spend beyond your means, then people will see that you are not credible. And we've seen that in the past, isn't it?
Yes,
and then if we want to keep the momentum to benefit Ghanaians, then we don't have to slack. And then more importantly, looking at long term, I'm looking at, some of these is long term, we need to look at how we restructure our economy, isn't it? We have this conversation over and over again. Now, I would suggest that the 24-hour economy that the government promised us, Ghanaians, is something that we need to begin to implement. The president has said that from July, isn't it? It will be launched, and it's something that needs to come on board. Because if you keep importing most of the things that you need to consume on a daily basis, things will reverse, isn't it? You need to begin to have medium to long-term plans to produce the things that you consume locally. And you need to start that as soon as possible, before the gains that you are getting from factors that are not within your power wither away, isn't it? So you need to begin to put in place measures that will increase productivity within the economy, and not just productivity for the raw things that we export. No, productivity for the things that you and I need on a daily basis in Ghana.
So we don't get to import them.
We don't have to import them. So the implementation of the 24-hour economy is crucial, and we need to begin to look at the factors that makes us. The energy issues, we need to fix them first, isn't it? The security issues, we need to fix them. And when you do that, you implement the policies, encourage them to produce more in the medium to long term. In the short term, of course, like I said, we've not seen the end of the gains yet, isn't it? Because some of us are seeing the dollar going down further, isn't it? And even other currencies. So as you are enjoying the momentum, you need to put in place place, measures that by the time these things peter out, isn't it, you would have had the local measures that take over to prolong the gains. So increase your productivity. Ensure that you seal all the loopholes that we said in the gold purchase within the domestic economy, so that you can export it as much as possible. Now that countries, you see, gold prices are likely to increase further because countries are increasingly shifting towards gold reserves, central banks, and so that demand will continue into the foreseeable future. And so what you have to do as an economy is to ramp up the way they are doing, so that there are no leakages, isn't it, in the gold that you export.
But
so that you take advantage.
Are we in a position to do that? To make sure that we ramp up our production locally.
Not only production in terms of the gold. You're talking about gold, isn't it?
No. I mean in the things.
Oh, okay.
General goods.
That's what I'm saying. That the government needs to take steps to actually put in place the things that will improve. I mean, will make the 24-hour economy take off. Like I mentioned, you need to look at the energy issues, you need to look at the security issues within the country, and you need to look at the cost of doing business within the country. And so in the short term, I agree with you, that cannot happen. But in the medium to long term, we need to look at how to implement this, to roll out some of these things to help the businesses to actually produce more. And we need to target the SMEs, because they are the heartbeat of the things that we do in Ghana.
From where you said, I've heard people, and Charles, please